Hello there, welcome to the Empowered Marriage Podcast. My name is Helen Harrison. I'm really happy to be on board doing this podcast. And this is podcast 63. It's a nice juicy topic. You're no longer attracted to your partner. This is a really big topic. I see this a lot in my counselling room, and this is why I'm talking about it. And I want to go back a step. I want to talk a little bit first about why I rattle on my Empowered Marriage podcast. I do this because I am out of a 30-year relationship marriage. And I'm a big believer that marriage is all about passion, desire, and fun. And if you're not having that, then you've got to really ask yourself some deeper questions. You've got to start looking at it and start creating that. And if you're not, really ask yourself the question, well, what the hell am I doing? Do I want to be in a marriage? You know, I hear a lot. You know, I work in the suburbs here in Brisbane, and I hear from couples, particularly over this Christmas period, November, December, January. Gosh, a lot of crisis going on. A lot of relationships where people are putting their hands up in the air and it's just, I'm out of here. They do that fight, flight. So today is a topic that what happens is people get really nervous. If they're starting to feel like they're not attracted to their partner anymore, they can start hatching plans of exiting without actually really looking at ways to be able to bring in more attraction and to be able to create a bit of a change. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. When you're no longer attracted to your partner, you go a lot in your head. You try and work it out and you bring in evidence why you're no longer attracted to your partner. And what can begin to happen if we sit in that momentum? What I mean by a momentum is if we're on that track that, you know, I'm no longer attracted to my partner, and you're bringing in evidence why you're no longer attracted, let's you know, if we think of, say, a railway track, you know, years ago I wrote a book called Full a Steam Ahead, and I used the metaphor of a train. And I'm going to use that right now because I think it's quite appropriate. When you're on the momentum that you are no longer attracted to your partner, it's like you can bring in evidence as to why you're not. And that momentum can begin to take over, and it can begin to become quite fast. And look, say you started the beginning of the day with a momentum, say 60 k's an hour. By the end of the day, if you stay on that momentum, I'm no longer attracted to my partner, before you know it, you're going to be 500 k's an hour and toot, 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 honk, honk, I'm out of here. So I'm offering a different way. I'm bringing to your attention that, number one, a momentum. It's not a healthy momentum to have the thinking I'm no longer attracted to my partner. And so we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to bring in 7 steps to begin exploring the attraction, because it all begins with you first. So let's get you off this momentum, which is toxic, negative, worrying. You know, you're in that monkey mind. We've got to get you on a momentum which is lighter and which is brighter. And it begins with you first. So we've got to get the other momentum a lot stronger. Okay, so my number 1 for steps to exploring attraction would be begin with what you can control versus what you can't control. You know, if you sit in why you're no longer attracted to your partner, you might not like it because they're a morning person and you're a night person. They're a morning person and, you know, they're up exercising and you prefer to be sleeping in. Can you control that? If the rhythm of your partner is different? No, you can't. However, if you go into that and begin to try and control that, that's going to give you some grief. So sit with what you can control. You know, maybe your partner is a little bit messy. Maybe your partner swears. Maybe your partner drinks. Maybe your partner doesn't eat healthily. Maybe your partner wears checkered shirts and you like stripes. You know, maybe your partner, look, you're getting the picture. Work with what you can control. What can begin to happen, and I see it a lot with couples, particularly in their 20s, the woman becomes almost a little bit naggy. She's replaced mum, and she is perhaps a little bit forceful, a little bit controlling, a bit criticising, a bit naggy. And then if we go into the male, if he's in the momentum of negativity, shutting down, not really wanting to hear what she's got to say, and I'll do whatever the hell I want. Or you may flip over to the other side where you're a total pleaser and totally disregard what you need to feel balanced and to feel healthy. This is a really big topic, so I'm very aware that I've only got 20 minutes. So I'm going to go to my second, is calm versus stress. In fact, that is my number one. It's learning how to bring in calmness. And this is something that I've struggled a lot with for a very large part of my life. I've always been a quite highly strung person. I suppose my personality is very extroverted. And I've suffered with stress a fair bit. And I'm still learning. Every day I've got to check in with myself. Am I in the calm, grounded place? Am I picking calmness over stress? And also, come back to that momentum that I'm talking about. That momentum. I can, for a time there I was quite addicted to drama and addicted to the fast pace and the hypedness of life. And when you're in stress, you tend to react, you don't respond. And so all of this is about how to feel more attracted to your partner. You've got to feel attracted to yourself. Like it's Abraham Hicks. She talks about, we need to feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You've got to feel that within yourself first before you have any attraction towards your partner. So calm versus stress. A question to ask yourself is, where am I able to bring in more calmness? Do I need to meditate? Do I need to do some exercise? Do I need to starve the grog? I mean, all of this is the quality of questions that you ask yourself. So that's my number two. My number three, really I've touched on it in the number two, but look at yourself first. If you're no longer attracted to your partner, well, are you attracted to you? The first one you've got to be attracted to is yourself. Are you happy with your weight? Are you happy with how you're feeling within yourself? Again, if you've got stress, you're not going to be happy with yourself. What we tend to do is we look outside of ourselves to get our needs met from our partner. And crash and burn. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. You've got to bring it back to yourself and bring in vibrancy with yourself. Marry yourself. Have a relationship with yourself. Be turned on with yourself. And then when you come from that place, you just feel so different. And you also don't need your partner. You know how to give yourself what you need. And there is far more likelihood for you to feel attraction for your partner because you're feeling it within yourself first. So, my number 4 in the steps to exploring attraction would be making your relationship a priority. I hear over and over and over again, when people are actually breaking down and looking at their relationship, they recognize that they actually don't have any quality time together. Now, as gawky as that may sound, go back to when you were dating. You made your relationship a priority, did you not? Of course you did. You were your best version and you made your relationship a priority because you were building it. Why now stop that just because you're together? It's every day when you wake up in the morning, I'm in this marriage. Check in with yourself, I'm in this marriage, and being your best version and making your relationship a priority. I'll be the first to say that for a lot of us, we put work way up there and, the dollar. However, Does that truly make you happy? Does it? They're questions to ask yourself. Anyway, I've got a little bit of a list in front of me. So putting aside designated times to actually talk. Don't do the surface stuff. Talk about the deeper stuff. Talk about how you're feeling. What happens is we lose our ways and we don't share our inner world with our partners. So create time to actually do that. Enjoying regular date nights. Absolutely crucial. And don't use the excuse of kids. A date night can be you put the kids away to bed early. You do this little picnic, you might go outside and, put a rug under the stars, under the moon, see when the full moon's on. You've got to start being a bit creative when you have children and when you've got a tight budget, but that is no reason to not make your relationship a priority. Another example is the little kisses, morning, noon and night. Every time you check in, connect, physically connect. Excuse me. I see a lot and hear a lot from couples that I work with that they've stopped touching, they've stopped holding hands, they've stopped kissing. And all of that, we need that. Those beautiful love hormones. As humans, we need that. It is important. And for you to feel that attraction for your partner. With making your relationship a priority, when did you actually last look into the eyes of your partner? Really look in. It's been interesting with, we've had lockdown in Brisbane, but also we've had to wear masks constantly. And a lot of you listening to this around the globe, you would be wearing masks. But where I'm going with this is the eyes. They're into the soul. When you actually look into another person's eyes. So where am I going with this? When did the two of you last sit down opposite and actually really look at each other in your eyes? And, 70% of communication is non-verbal. Do some eye gazing. Really begin to connect and begin to notice what you're feeling in your body. It's really, really important. The last thing I'd say about making your relationship a priority would be put a social media ban, put a telephone ban on your relationship. Have a particular time during the day where you both put your phones down. I can hear my dog barking. You put your phones down. Put your TV down, your laptops down. Put everything down and actually really, really connect. Look, all of this is really common sense stuff. However, this is what I'm hearing, is people aren't connecting. And so I've said this in many, many different podcasts. When you put a little seed in the garden and it's in beautiful moist soil and you've got the sun and water, and it's for a seed to germinate, it needs goodness. And that's exactly the same of how your relationship began. You gave it goodness. However, if you do not continue to maintain and to be there and to nurture it, it wilts away and it dies. And that is what happens in relationships and in marriages. You've got to put in the energy. All right, so you're no longer attracted to your partner. Okay, my next way would be to take up fun activities. So what's the idea of fun activities? Fun activities is new conversations. When did you last, as a couple, have a new conversation? Now, if you're in this place where you're not feeling attracted to your partner, if you can get onto this earlier than some people who leave it a long time, you've got more chance of being able to awaken this and get this moving again. So, creating new conversation. Join some groups. I've got some different ideas. Dancing and shaking things up. Joining a pub trivia group. Try a cooking class together. Do something adrenaline-like. abseiling down the side of a mountain, getting in a fast car and doing a few laps, signing up for a new activity that you can do together. Think of different ways. Think out of the box. What we tend to do is just focus on, particularly if you've got children, you focus on the children, the mortgage, cleaning the house, and doing all those things. And I get that they're important. However, if you do not put energy into you as a couple and to keep that spark alive, that attraction, it will slowly die. So my number 6 is breaking routine. If you're no longer attracted to your partner, how can you shake it up a bit? Instead of doing bang, bang, bang in order, often what happens as you get into particularly raising children, yes, you've got to have order and consistency and routine and habit and all of that. However, can you half a day, 1 day a week, break the routine? Or during the week, can you break the routine a little bit? What does break the routine? It's change. And we need change. Otherwise, we get bored, we get in a rut, we feel stagnant, we can feel trapped. And like I rattle on, in relationships, we have a dance. We have a dance of security, freedom. And when you're stuck in a really strict routine with habits, it gets a bit boring. And then that attraction will slowly die. So I'm running out of time. I better get a move on. My last one, number 7. Now, all of these, of course, are ways that you can begin. And this will have a ripple effect through to your partner. Can you be a better partner? So how I see it, imagine this is the two of you. And when you first got together, you were going really, really well. And if you're listening to this, you're not going to see what I'm doing with my hands. But you can actually watch this on YouTube. So you were perhaps on an even playing field. What begins to happen though is you lose that connection. So if you're losing attraction, sit in all of these ideas that I'm giving you. Really begin to explore it. What will begin to happen is we have a vibration. And I always come back to passion, desire, and fun. Having that with yourself and having that with your partner. And so for you to stay in that vibration of passion, desire, and fun, and your partner will either come up and meet you in that, or he or she won't. And you don't have to work out whether you're staying or going. What will happen is you just miss each other vibrationally. You're actually totally mismatched. So for the one of you who is really throwing yourself into this, don't let the worry in your monkey mind trying to work out, am I staying or going? Is this, a long-term relationship? It's all about coming back to the present. That's all we have, is the present moment. Your smell, touch, feel, all of your senses. That's all we have in this present moment. And as humans, we're always trying to work it out, either in the future or in the past. Stay in the present and vibrationally work on that energy, bringing it up with all those different ideas I've given you. And your partner will either come up and meet you in that, or your partner will not. But it's bring that into yourself first. And I've got the mantra, things are always working out. Things are always working out. And I really, truly believe that. So bring that in. If you're starting to worry, because your monkey mind, it likes to have comments, keep coming back to, this is daily connection, consciousness, living, evolving, growing, changing, whatever you want to call it. That's why my business is called Power of Change, because it's evolving and growing. And in a healthy relationship, there is endings and beginnings constantly as you're evolving and growing consciously. So, look, I hope this has been helpful. There will be something. Go with something. Something is better than just sitting numb, shut down, and stagnant. Nothing's going to change there. You've actually got to do something differently. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to have to finish up. I could rattle on as I do. So I'm Helen Harrison. You can find me on my website, Power of Change. My email is helen@powerofchange.com.au. And the podcast. Look, if this has been helpful, I'd love a review wherever you listen to the podcast, on Apple or on Spotify. A review will encourage other people who may be feeling the same as you. And you know how isolating and worrying it can be. And this is why I do this podcast, to educate and to encourage and to support. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye until the next podcast. And so, what's my tagline? Take care and enjoy living your empowered life in your empowered marriage. See ya.